Welcome back. I'm Anise Kisselbash from Mindful Sales Training and you're watching the 30-day challenge. Today's question: how do you demonstrate credibility when you're just starting out? So let's say you've moved industry, you're working in, say, investment banking or whatever, and now you're in a completely new industry, in the tech industry, selling to a different customer segment. How do you quickly demonstrate credibility? Because you need to, right? It's something I alluded to in a previous episode, and it's one of the ways is market knowledge. And let me just be more specific with market knowledge. Now, the mistake people make, and I've been in a room when this has happened, where you've read an article and you've read some research, and then you're in a meeting and you're sitting there and splouting out all this market knowledge to look credible, and that's a little bit inauthentic, and it comes across. People can feel it. We have these acute BS detectors more so than ever. And people see through that. And it's a really high-risk approach, because what if they ask you a question, something technical, and you have no idea? Okay, so that could set you up to look foolish, hence the high risk. There's another way you can demonstrate expertise and credibility. Voltaire once said you can judge a person by the questions they ask rather than the answers they give. Something like that. I don't know the exact quote, but that's what he meant. So here's how you can use that to help you demonstrate credibility. I'll give you an example with me. Once I was selling to Taiwanese chip motherboard manufacturers, as you do. So I went from selling to kind of broad range of laptop printers, all sorts of type, to suddenly to a super niche market, motherboard manufacturers in Taiwan. And I was like, oh my God, I don't know anything about motherboards. And I had to get on a plane to Taiwan for a conference where we had 1,000 of all of them there, seniors and so on. So what did I do? On the plane over there, I grabbed a bunch of magazines, and on the plane over there, I just read magazines the whole way. No movies, no nothing, just read them cover to cover. And what was trending at the time was slot 9 motherboards. The industry was kind of going gaga over slot 9 motherboards. I still don't know what they are. I thought maybe it's a slot machine with lots of holes in it. No, I broadly knew what it was, but here's the thing. Instead of talking about it and rehashing the articles I read, I approached someone fairly senior in one of the bigger companies, and I said, how do you think the slot 9 motherboards will affect the industry? Sorry, trying to say it with a straight face, but how do you think slot 9s will change the industry? And his face just lit up, right? And he started talking and talking, and he started telling me all this brilliant market insight. And so what you then do, and what I did, is I took that insight, and when I went to speak with someone else, and I just kind of posed that viewpoint. I didn't repeat it, but I said, well, what do you think about how it will affect industry? So it might make computers bigger or faster, whatever it is. What do you think about that? And then they'll start talking and giving their point of view. And all of a sudden, I now had 2 different viewpoints, and then I'd meet someone else. And they didn't sell motherboards. They were kind of an industry along parallel to it, but very much invested in it. So I asked that person, so what do you think? And I posed this viewpoint. And he started telling me his point of view. So all of a sudden, within a morning, and this was by noon, I had this different perspective, these different perspectives of the industry and knowledge, right? But here's the thing, you've got to continue to be curious. Instead of continuing to spout out all this knowledge, just posing these viewpoints makes you seem the expert. I mean, if you think about it, when you're doing a master's or a PhD, what do they do? Master's degree, I don't know about PhD, I haven't done that, but a master's, what do they do? You're getting all these different viewpoints, these different researchers, and you're doing like a critical analysis of it, right? So that's fundamentally what it is. It's like a literature review, but it makes you look really smart. So that's a relatively fast way of demonstrating credibility, okay? So don't spout out the knowledge because it's high risk and people see through that. Instead, be curious, okay? So the way to demonstrate credibility fast, know enough to ask the right questions. So be curious. Okay, so if you found value in this, please share it. And I'm sure there's a lot of startups out there who are probably making that mistake. I've seen it quite a lot. So please help them by sharing this with them so they avoid it. And please subscribe, right? If you're looking at this on YouTube, head on over to mindfulsalestraining.net and you can subscribe. You'll get more bonuses and you'll get all the latest updates in your inbox. We can be inbox buddies. And so this is Anis from Mindful Sales Training, and I will see you tomorrow.